of English to communicate my thoughts and ideas to the audiences, or is it preferable for them to select the language that they prefer for understandability, clarity, simplicity? So the ball is in their court. Let them choose whether I speak in English or I use the other language.
You're speaking in English because
okay.
This is a grand seminar for English speakers.
Okay, it's a grand seminar for English speakers. Thank you very much. And secondly, I must emulate my highly erudite, learned Dr. Sheikh Ndur, and I must salute and commend and applaud actually what he has presented here. This suffices and is even enough if we should stop here, because his lectures is too inclusive in the sense that he has even touched on every important point that we are really in need of knowing or in need of acknowledging its existence and the provision of solutions. I must thank everybody here in attendance, especially the organizers of this important program. And as I am assigned to dilate on the role of youths in maintaining peace and stability in the Gambia and anywhere else in any Muslim or non-Muslim community, which is a vitality and a precondition. It's a precondition for proper living, social harmony, understanding, and it leads to progress, advancement in every human endeavors. For that matter, I would rather implore, I'm not going to ask them, implore the youth to listen to us. Not me, but us in the plural, as my erudite and learned doctor said in the inception of his speech. We should be listened to by their minds, not by their emotions or hearts. Because the matter is so important, the matter is so crucial, the youths need to be put on the right track so that at the end of the day, the country will be immune from unexpected explosions that usually accompany youth impulsions. The role of the youth in maintaining peace can only, and the best place one can just get everything that you want, the specimens, is, as my brother has said, is the Holy Quran, which has given us solutions to every existing and something that is even not yet existing in our human societies. The role of the youth in maintaining peace and stability in the Gambia especially, we are approaching a period in the Gambia which is more or less inevitably, it is something that nobody can avoid, because the dynamics of politics, especially African or Gambian politics, the forces at play, some of the forces are selfish, some of the forces are ethnocentric, some of the forces are self-centered, some of the forces are negative, and only few are positive. Only few are positive, in the sense that, because politics simply, has been given a completely different vocabulary meaning. I mean, from our Islamic perspective, politics simply means to do the right thing, to enjoy the right thing, and to think the right thing, and to promise something that you can do humanly. Yeah, but unfortunately, politicians themselves would just clamor and say, politics is a field of self-interest. So where there is, a competition for self-interest, the end result will be the accumulation of as much as many as possible. And in that context, when human beings are competing, for increasing their earnings, there is bound to be a collusion, and that collusion ignites a situation, and that situation brought about a calamity socially, politically, and the nation is at stake, and the existence of that society is threatened, and at the end of the day, may God forbid, and may Allah protect us, it ends up in complete desolation. So for that matter, I think the youths, to guide the youths into the proper perspective of maintaining what is peace and stability. Because in every society, first, you must give the people freedom. But what is freedom? Freedom is a responsible reaction of man towards what is given to him as a responsibility and what is given to him as a right. When somebody is free, he is always doing the right thing. People must be free to do the right thing. But nobody is free to do the wrong thing. Everybody is free to do the right thing, say the right thing, think the right thing. But the opposite, you are not free because it is irresponsibility. So there must be equality in society, because you cannot simply say the youth must maintain peace if you don't give them their dues and their rights. Because you cannot tell me you will not eat, but you will not feel hungry. That is not the truth. So I must eat so that I can beat hunger. So for that matter, we need to create first the material condition, the material space, whereby the youth would be given all that they need, morally, psychologically, and even mentally, so that we can ask them to come together and maintain peace and stability in the Gambia, especially in a season which is charged negatively with very explosive ions or electrical charges. That is election year. Because politicians are just like chameleons. Asiyasiyuna kal hirba. Politicians are just like chameleons. They can change their colors anytime, anywhere, with anybody, as long as their interest is at stake. So they should never use, as the Quran says, وَقُولُهَا النَّاسُ الْحِجَارَةِ. But the politicians would say, وَقُولُهَا الشَّبَابُ وَالْبَنَاتِ. So we should not allow us to be used as fuel. And in the history of mankind, anytime, in any epoch, in any society, civilization, the people use as fuels or charcoal or even wood to ignite, even the Second World War. The millions of people who died on the battlefront were youths. All the African youths, talented, skilled, intelligent youths, were carried into their so-called universal war, which was never universal but a European war. Because it is dangerous for the youths. And because youthfulness means inexperience. Youths are highly inexperienced because the youths, they always react with their emotion and their sentiments, but they are not given the power of analysis and critical thinking. So we need them to think. But how are we going to give them that chance to think? The only place we can give them the medicine that will cure the disease of reaction, uselessly or vaingloriously, is the Holy Quran and the Sunnah to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And my learned doctor said it. My learned doctor has touched on every aspect that we are in need of. Because the youth, we can go to Surah Al-Kahf in the Holy Quran. Innahum fityatun. I could remember Fegamsu when there was an amalgamation. That was their logo and the title. Innahum fityatun amanu bi rabbihim fazidnahum, to the end of the verse. So what we should put the youth in is to make sure that they understood what is their religion and what is Islam. That's why in Surah Al-Luqman, one of the things, the commandments that Luqman has given, the imperatives, Luqman has given to his son when he was, enjoining the youth, when he was instructing, when he was inducting, when he was educating, when he was streamlining, when he was psychologizing, when he was making somebody into a stock personality. One of the things he told the child was, وَقْصُدْ فِي مَشْيِكَ. وَقْصُدْ فِي مَشْيِكَ. Here it doesn't mean literally to walk with your leg. It means your endeavors, whatever you are doing, let it be in the middle. Never be excessive and never be too slow to do what you are supposed to do. So understanding religion is the first factor for the youth. Because when they understand religion, as my learned doctor said, religion is a deterrent and religion is a barrier. It limits your human impulsive. It reduces your human anger and aggressiveness to go beyond the boundaries that are drawn by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for that matter, the youths, they need to be properly inducted and instructed to understand what is Islam. Because now we are living in trying times. How many Islams do you have in this world? How many Islams do you have in this world? We know that Allah says, Inna Dina inda Allah Islam. But the Muslims themselves, they have dissected surgically millions of versions of Islam. And it is saying, I am the best. You are not asked to say, I am the best, but you are asked to say, I am doing the best. Doing the best is following Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As Muhammad, as my brother said, Muhammad himself is an embodiment of everything that is good. But unfortunately, Muslims would speak much, but they will do very little. This is the problem. So the youth must be inducted into Islam. They are already Muslims and they are already in schools, but we must make sure that they understand what is Islam in the light of the Holy Quran and in the light of the practical traditions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if this is properly done, I think we will get one of the most important securities against any indulgence, against any incitement, against any temptations, against any inclusion or any intrusions that will just make the youth into prey or victims of violence when the time comes. I must repeat it. Politicians can kill millions of people and they can walk on millions of dead bodies just to go and get their parliamentary seats in the parliament. Be very careful. And they will kill you and they will help you to bury your dead. But they will never cry for you because their tears are hypocritical. It's the tears of the crocodile catching a cow. So be very careful. Never allow anybody as a youth to use you as a fuel. Your fuel is to use your intellectual power, is to use your youthful power, just like the Shabab or the youths in Nahum Fitya in Surah Al-Kahf. These youths were able to maintain, my brother said it, they were able to maintain peace in their community. They escaped with their conviction and their belief. They sought refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah provided them with a miraculous solution. And they were in the cave for 300 years. When you convert it into lunar, it is 309 years. So peace reigned in the society. Until that wicked leader who forced people to prostrate themselves before him passed away 300 years and they came out, a miracle was completed. This were youths, isn't it? And he mentioned about Yusuf. Yusuf was a youth who set an example for the youths. You know, he was subjected to all conspiracies when he was at the tender age of 10 years. His elder brothers were conspiring every time against him to the level of throwing that young boy innocently in a well, so that their intention was not to kill, but accidentally he could have died, hadn't been the provision of Allah. You know, when he was able to reach the level, according to the vision that he saw, إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ أَحَدْ عَشَرَ كَوْكَبًا وَالشَّمْسِ وَالْقَمَرَ رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. When it was fulfilled, he became a powerful king in Egypt. Actually, the brothers came, but he maintained peace and stability in the family. He could have revenge. He could have did something, but he never did it. He maintained peace. So peace is everything. Without peace, we cannot go to the mosque. We cannot come to the school. Women cannot go to the market. We cannot even eat our food. That's why when there is freedom, there must be equality. When there is equality, there must be brotherhood. When there is brotherhood, there must be what is called peace. Peace will never come until and unless these three conditions are fulfilled. That is one, that is equality, that is justice, and that is what? Brotherhood in a community. We have peace. So for the youth, know your religion properly. This is the way. And all the time for the youth, make sure that you are well informed of your good cultures. I will give you 7 points that you are going to use as a principle in your interaction with the dynamics, the negative ones of this time. Know your religion properly. but don't know your religion from yourself. This is a problem. Don't know your religion from yourself, otherwise you become what? Allahu Akbar. If somebody thinks that he knows and he refuses to accept something from somebody who is more sophisticated than him in that field, he becomes something that is absolutely dangerous for society. Momo ya mera aba fankarandila nola ka fonole nene. Hadama di mo fomole bi karandila. Do hadama di mo danta dami nyanta danna wotole fondin kelo. ولا تقف ما ليس لك به علم إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا. نمو يا مرولتي على يا في سورة الإسراء أبي يا مرول لكل من أيادي كيبال بدين والألدابا كنول. You must be well informed of your culture. Not every culture of ours is bad. That's impossible. Human culture, everything cannot be bad. Some of them are good, but because you're youthful in experience, you cannot understand or design, and you refuse to ask the parents or the elders to tell you the meaning and the ethos, the understanding, the underlying factors of your culture. You must understand your culture, because your culture tells you that fitino mambetea. Fitino mambetia na chosani kendo follow to kebalu nie fitino mo banko minto sate minto beleka warambodu yeborije. If fitino mambetia, peace must be maintained and stability. But let me give you the definition of peace and stability in English. What does it mean when we say peace and when we say stability? Allahu Akbar. Well, this is English. Angale kaolo nyamati kaolo. Because Niko peace, it has to do with the external factors that are constant. They are not causing any causes that will create a negative situation. Because peace has to do with the external factors. But stability has to do with the internal factors, the mind. So peace and stability, they are synonymous, but they are different. One is inward, the other is outward. And you cannot get one without the other. So without in that, you prepare your mind to be a peaceful person before your body responds to your request. So for that matter, we must be very careful. We must understand our true culture, youths. I mentioned the Ashabul Kahf. They were youths. But they are belief that is knowing that Allah, one of the attributes of Allah is mu'min. Al-Iman means, because in Islam we say al-Muslim wal-mu'min. The difference is there. When you say al-Islam as-salama, you are secured. As-salama, you are purified. There is no defect in your life or in your mind. But when you say mu'min, you are secured by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then to be a Muslim, you must reach the level of Iman, because that Iman is what protects you, and that Iman is what dictates you to protect society by avoiding yourself to be used as an instrument of destruction. And your culture. And as for you know what is your responsibility towards society. Funding care manke kino responsibility to society. Society will give you, but what should I do for you? When you do that, you understand, because a useless hand is the only hand that does the devil. Itolle ka fitino bonde ni amwe molbe sonkala sonko jam yamwe dada ko sonkaro ko ne ka ebuka sonko moy kono be fala sonko be moy kono fa ko lalo sa ko ne ataya la ataka wonen ta pala. So this is the main problem. You should know your responsibility. And the fourth one is, I am imploring all the youth to be able to connect the past and the present together.
You must make sure that you inquire this. To make your future good. Hadama di wo memman kunun soto buka bi soto. Being in kono soto buka soma soto no. Then it's connected the three dimensions of time. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And we are living in that. We were never there. We are here. We shall go and we shall be resurrected tomorrow. And the fourth one or the fifth one is make sure that you are a pillar of society. To be a pillar of society simply means that what and when. Because Iblis, la'anahullah, when the pagans or the unbelievers prepared their huge army to go and attack the Muslims, what did Iblis say? Ana jarun lakum. I'm your supporter today. But when he arrived on the battlefield and saw what he saw, what did he say? Inni bari'un minkum. Inni akhafullah. So this is something that you must understand. Amanke ko fewo min be mala ta sanolom. Hada madingo hakilo anyantata mandilale. Sheikh waya fo diamo kono janne. Hakilo kumma yatale walatin la dina liman la aqla lahu. Ima fo nyama to sali ima fa sung kato hakilo buka do ko. Hada madingo kanabula fewo no may mammin long wala taqfu ma laysa laka bihi ilm. So walatin funding kill nimna mutunku. These are the pillars. The fifth pillars that you must know. These are the paraphernalias and the tools and the instrument of navigating your life, your inexperienced life, a life that is yet to practice and know many things, to navigate in these turbulent times, especially in political times. Know what you are doing. Don't say somebody is there because I am there. I will repeat it. Politicians are chameleons. Nim politician o kwa inata safa la tasa kungofa ni afenyofa atata kungole pala sabe kinale. They are chameleons. And this is loudly said, and we will say it and repeat it, reiterate it, echo it, and it will resonate. Especially African politicians. I don't know where they stand in relation to politics. Whether they are politicized or they politicize politics. So our duty is to Islamize everything. Here comes the nitty-gritty, the core of our lecture. You need to Islamize everything. Islam is a religion, the most authentic, infallible, the eternal religion, the religion that will never fade away, a religion that has no defect, a religion that is a solution for all human problems. You must Islamize it. Politics can be Islamized. I can remember my brother Jallo is a very ardent, eager, revolutionary to Islamize even the parliament. But when you say that they will be jumping with fears, for Islam to occupy the parliament? No. But we will occupy it. But we are not terrorists. We are going to be politicians, but we are going to Islamize our politics. We are going to Islamize our politics. And it will never be an obstacle for our progress, because we will be progressing, because our faith will be on the Allah and our confidence be on ourselves. Nobody is intelligent than the other. It is your power to use your mental powers to create, to excavate, to explore, to understand, to go into what you don't know. Always go into the unknown and come out with something that is known. جوتيا من بتيا يكو يهود ادخلوا هذه القرية منفو إنا لن ندخلها إن فيها قوما جبارين نيكو موفي مولي كو أتسكو غامبيان والألتاس لدو تباتو مبو إلالي نيمان قولي يعني نسوني أبو كنا. Let us go. So funding kilo, this is my advice to you. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam Sheikh ya fole is the best of examples. He was in Mecca. They were the youths. In fact, look at it. the youth were the first acceptors of this deen. And they were very much ready to go into any adventure when they are commanded by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But look, the man was very conscious of his time. He knew that numerically the numbers, a war is always fought by machines or by instruments and men. When somebody outnumbered you in men, he could defeat you even if you are on a right course. He asked the youth to just stay put. And they migrated twice to Ethiopia, once to Medina. A nation was built. A very good example. So as youth and Muslims, I must ask you to understand your time. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in one of the most important, the most educative episode of his life is Sulhul Hudaybiyah. He was a prophet. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quran says, Muhammadun Rasulullah, وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ أَشِدَّاءُ عَلَى الْكُفَارِ, to the end of the verses. And the Quran declared that Muhammad is a messenger. But when he was making the treaty with the Kafirs, their objection was for him to include his attribute, min Rasulullah. They said, no, you cannot put that there, because if we had believed that you are a messenger, we would not have fought you. And he agreed and deleted that title, Rasulullah. But, because he understood the time. Somebody who drove you out of your compound, and that man is asking for peace now. And that peace, the only thing he has objection against is for you to drop your title, Muhammadun Rasulullah. Then that person is very weak. Momin ko boyla korda kono. Sanji tan kola anata ko sa na kafode na kambe woke. Bari sa kana dendika koyo dum. Oto batata le ko. Na mere yo ganyele sai. Kadu dendika ko dendika fimo mbola dun dendika ko nin fimo bekile. Oto mari batata le wala kata. Because Muhammad on the bolumo, on that very day some of the companions protested. Saibo dol man son kautobo ndije. But Muhammad was very much conscious of time. He knows that Quraysh has become completely weak. And there is no power, because Quraysh was destroyed financially, economically, and numerically by men, by migration to Medina. So they were very weak. So as a youth, you must understand your time. If you don't understand your time, you will live in somebody else's time. Walatinda nyamfondinki koronto takati londo soto atabuka talibe yake. Na man talibe yake atakaramu ya sotola. So you must know your time. You have a youthful energy. Your brain is very fresh. You have the strength and the power. But use it properly. The only way to use it by Islamization. At this juncture, my brother has alerted my attention to something very important. Among the birds in the air, there is a bird called an eagle, or a vulture. A vulture will never kill, but an eagle will kill, and will kill aggressively and fiercely. Journalists are just like vultures and eagles. Journalists, some of them are eagles, but some of them are vultures. They will never kill, but whatever you kill, they will eat it. And when they are eating, they eat it hurriedly, in haste. So whatever they take, sometimes they don't even finish the food, they run with it. So election is coming. They are another factor in contributing in building up the tension of problems when election times are here. Some journalists are factors. Because they would always want their outlet to be the first to announce something. And some of them will just report very incredible stories. Journalists will come and tell ko unko it will report in Sheikh Hama Jaiteh. The next minute I'll be here talking to Professor Jaiteh. Jumala kante mo professor leti. It will don't make a So it's a problem. I'm not even a master's holder, much less a professor. So we need to advise the journalists. Because journalism, you can Islamize it. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, I call it the international private law. Chapter to Surah Al-Hujarat. I personally call that chapter international private law. It has 6 commands. 5 is for the Muslims and 1 is universal. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin. Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin. Verse 13. This is universal. This are for the Muslims. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in. Allah didn't say bi khabarin, but he said bi naba'in. There is a difference in Arabic. This is why the Quran, the richness of the Quran, linguistically and literally, it can never be encompassed by the human mind. Wherever there is naba, there is something, a consequence so great that is going to ensue as a result of that action. If somebody comes, anybody, singularly, with one-sided story, fatabayanu, make sure that it is established, the credibility and the authenticity. So journalists, your duty as Muslims, you Islamize your journalism. You don't need to go to London or to America to become a journalist. Even the birds are journalists, they sing. When birds are on the tree, and some birds are eating under the tree, and a cat is coming to attack a group of birds, the bird at the top is a journalist, will just produce a sound to allow the birds on the ground to fly away. Allahu Akbar. We must say Allahu Akbar. Wa in min shay'in illa yusabbihu bihamdihi walakin la tafqahuna tasbihahum. Everything sing the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we cannot comprehend because it is beyond our understanding. But we can understand it if we are into exploration and research. So for that matter, journalists, make sure that everything that you write is authentic, is correct. The source is credible. And never inflate or deflate. They like inflation like economy. They can inflate the stocks and the money, and they can deflate the money and the goods. Never do it, journalists. You don't need to, don't buy your integrity and dignity for money. Islamize your journalism. Be somebody who exposes evil. Be somebody who will say the truth. Write it in simple, unambiguous language for everybody to understand. You do that, you get the pleasure of Allah. So the role of justice is here. And the role of activists, Gambia, we have 1 billion activists, but there is no activity. Everybody is an activist in this country. Women's rights activity, child's rights activity, but there is no activity in the Gambia except a workshop in a hotel. They eat dajaj. Is a CC domoje, subo domoje, but you pay mota mobe sila suokon. Doctor Benenda for an Antoniat. Padia Modron, Momola envelope on the one is in Dolphon. Dolphon is a jump domoje, Fonsa Odron, it had a min to a wall for. Vonda is a damajo mojele. But Doctor Watijede and Dr. Fulotijin, that's Malawi. So this is a problem. Activists, how are you going to be part of the soul? How are you going to be part of the national issue, this is a critical, it's a crossroad. The history of the Gambia is in balance. Either it falls or it races. So as an activist, what is your right? Always be an activist in the righteous way. Because there is a constant duel and fighting between evil and righteousness. But sometimes evil is so powerful because its nature is it has to be powerful temporarily for it to be completely destroyed permanently. So for that matter, I implore and ask the journalists to be an instrument spokesperson for justice. Never rush to say things that don't exist. Never inflate and never deflate. And for the activists, activism, we don't have any problem with your activism. Your activism is your right and your belief, and you think it is the right way. But never fool yourself, say what you believe in and never say what you don't believe in. Every activist, Make sure that you have a conviction of what you say. Otherwise, one day, history will expose you and you become a skeleton in the face of history, in the face of the nation, and in the face of the country. May Allah prevent everybody from being that personality. We say, when we reach here, we say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower his blessings upon everybody in attendance and upon everybody, especially the youths, for them to open their mind to be somebody who Islamize their understanding of deen. Somebody can be in Islam, but his Islam is not yet Islamized. Because we have imitative Islam, but emulative Islam is what we need from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and from his companions and from the scholars. You know, the scholars, alhamdulillah, Gambia is in fact endowed with the most powerful scholars. But unfortunately, when a diamond is given to a child, the child will throw it away, thinking that it is a mere stone. May Allah forbid. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad. وعلى صحبه صلى الله عليه وسلم.